Thus, the last will be first, and the first last. Whereas we have this morning for the Gospel of Mark, chapter 20, verse 16. Anthony was my schoolmate in secondary school in Nigeria. He was not my classmate. He was rather a year ahead of me. But we were friends. He wasn't one of the brightest in his class. Often he came to us with his academic challenges despite the difference in class. And we helped him out many times. And so our friendship grew stronger. But even after secondary school, we remained close friends. Then after secondary school, I continued with the seminary formation. And then Anthony then got into university. From there, he established an oil business. Before the age of 35, Anthony had become a renowned billionaire, not only in Nigeria where he has his companies, but also in the Middle East where he has also his associates and his business. He has a very wonderful life and a beautiful family. He had a lot of mansions, flashy cars, and a helicopter with which he goes for his business, especially offshore. We all admired Anthony. For most of us, including myself, we moved from admiration to envy. We started asking questions. Why Anthony? We grumbled. Why will Anthony have all these blessings? This is a guy who couldn't even write a comprehensive essay in the secondary school. Here he is, so renowned and so powerful, with all the blessings and with all the resources to himself. So we sometimes look at it and see and think that God is not just being just, because if there are people who should have this kind of blessing, we should have them because we gave Anthony. This is a man who could change cars on a monthly basis. But then I was also struggling myself. I was struggling to pay for my phone subscription. So that was Anthony. Then sometime in the past, Anthony rang that he wanted to speak with me. And then during one of his business trips in Europe or to Europe, we met there. I was a student in Swiss, and we met in Germany for a weekend. Anthony wanted to talk to me about his life. And then he opened up to me and started telling me his story, what he was passing through. He hadn't finished that story when I turned to my God in my heart and started apologizing to God. I started apologizing for ever wishing to be Anthony. I started apologizing for ever wanting his life. Because when he was narrating his story, it was clear to me that this young man is struggling. And this is not the kind of life I would like to have for myself. So I apologized to God. How do you look at your life? How do you see what you have? How do you consider what your achievements, your possessions? Are you happy with who you are and what you have got? Are you content? Or do you sometimes wish that you had a different life apart from what you have now? Do you sometimes look at people and their lives and wish that you had their career? You had the kind of children they have, the kind of husband she has got. Do you sometimes wish that you perhaps like to look the way they look, drive what they drive, live where they live? Are you happy with what God has given you? Are you content? In the gospel of today, Jesus Christ, using the parable of the workers in the vineyard, teaches us, among other things, the value of self-contentment. Yes, self-contentment. It is about being happy. It's about being fulfilled and satisfied with who you are and what you have got at the moment. It doesn't mean actually you shouldn't dream for higher life. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't aspire for something more. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't look for self-improvement. But it means that at the moment I have got this and my treasure is so well. If there's something coming my way later on, that is fine. But for this, I treasure it so much. People who lack self-contentment don't tend to see the world as a competition or life as a competition. For life is never a competition. When we lack self-contentment, we tend to develop poor judgment about ourselves. We have low opinions of ourselves. When we have lack of self-contentment, we grow into low self-esteem. And I tell you in all honesty, before Anthony met me in Germany and we had that chat, whenever we came for school gathering and Anthony showed up, I feel that I have been swallowed, because this is the man who has everything going for him. I've always measured myself looking at Anthony. When you have lack of self-contentment, seeing life as competition also, you always evaluate yourself and your achievement in the light of another person's achievement. You always measure yourself. You always compare. And sometimes you're not always happy, because you keep wishing that you could have. I should have. Life is not a competition but a journey. And as Jesus says in today's gospel, some will move earlier, some will move later. Even those who move earlier could arrive last. I am on my way to Bedford, driving my beautiful Honda. On the way, there is this BMW, you know them. There is this Mercedes coming. Within a second, jump! He passes me with high speed. Still, we are on the same national speed limit. What do? I look at that car, I become envious. I grow tired of my Honda immediately, because there is a BMW that passed with speed. Because there is a wonderful and lovely sports car, Porsche car or whatever that passed with speed. I begin to admire to the point I begin to hate my Honda. No, what I should do is go back home, wash my Honda, keep it neat, and keep moving. When I have means to get that is fine. But at the moment I have got my Honda, I'm going to pressure it. Yes, I moved earlier from Slough going to Bedford. But this guy has got a BMW. He moved later. But on the way he passed me. And that is life. So when the BMW passed me with speed on the way to Bedford, although I left earlier, I'm going to pass a truck because my speed is higher. So that is life. Some people will pass me. I'm going to pass some people. And that's why Jesus said, at the moment, all of you are making the same movement. Some have a higher speed. Some can leave early and arrive later. But just know that the destination is one. Life is a journey. Some will pass you by, but keep moving. It's not a competition. Once you get into competitive attitude in life, it brings so much stress onto yourself. You become sad. You keep comparing. How do I grow self-contentment? Always be grateful to yourself. When you pause in life and you count your blessings, count yourself one. Because sometimes when we pray to give thanks, we thank God for the gift of friends, we thank God for the gift of family. You're supposed to thank God for the gift of yourself unto yourself. We sometimes take ourselves for granted. Celebrate yourself. Be happy with who you are. Why waiting for improvement? Be happy and fulfilled, and then keep making effort that's going to be better. But don't ever compare. Don't ever measure yourself. Don't ever look at what is in the pocket of the other person, whether it is more than what you have. We have got, as far as we are here on this planet, we have got only one life. There is no duplicate. Where would I spend most of my hours of the day comparing myself with Anthony? Why will I spend the most of hours of my day measuring my success with the achievements of Anthony? There is this beautiful music. I don't know how to sing very well, but I don't want to bother you with my voice. But it's the music that says, "Sweet Jesus, teach me to live one day at a time." When I asked Anthony during the course of our discussion, but what we see on Facebook, It's opposite of what you are telling me. He said to me, Father, I decided to highlight that aspect of my life. He decided to highlight his successes. When you get involved in life as a competition, you downplay your successes and achievements, and you begin to highlight your failures or your disadvantages or where you're struggling. But this young man, for us who knew him from afar, who read about him from Facebook, this is the one he's highlighting, because that is for him what should be celebrated. He has his struggles, but we never knew. One thing I took away from that discussion is that no matter how wealthy someone looks, no matter how a billionaire he is, there are things he has I don't have. That is a fact. No matter how poor I am, there are things I have he doesn't have. It depends on how I choose to celebrate what I have. The rich man there is celebrating his riches. What of your own riches? Think you don't have any? Self-contentment. The guys in the gospel grumbled at Jesus. They thought life is more or less a competition. Or because I moved earlier before you, I'm going to get there earlier before you. We all thought that because we taught Anthony in the class and helped him with academic exercises, we're going to get the blessings more than Anthony. But that is not life. But I discovered too that when Anthony came around, he came because he needed what I have. I never knew he would come asking for help, because I thought he got it all. There are things you have I don't have. There are things I have you don't have. Treasure what you have got. That is all.